you have to really ask yourself, am I focusing too much on the skill and avoiding the strength? And the answer to that is probably yes. Find balance. And you got to be passionate about it too. I don't hang around mediocre. Kobe Bryant never did. If you're lazy, stay away from me, is what Kobe used to say. But for those that want to keep going and keep building, that have that desire to play at high level and do high level stuff, dedicate now. What's going on, everybody? This is Coach Vinny coming to you with another episode of the Students of Strength podcast. I'm happy to bring you guys episode 4. Now, today we're going to be talking some hot topics here. We're going to be hitting on off-season and in-season training and why you need to be focusing on both. There is no longer the days of you can focus on one without the other, where you are going to only do your off season for X amount of months and you're going to disappear because you don't have any time. You don't train in season. You're bouncing from one sport to the next, or you might just be playing the same sport all year. And you have to really ask yourself, am I focusing too much on the skill and avoiding the strength? And the answer to that is probably yes, 9 times out of the 10. Your off-season plan dictates everything that you are going to be doing in season. All of these athletes that we look up to at the college level, the professional level, they are all doing it. They train in the off-season, they train during the season, the in-season plan, which is training on days that you have practice. You might even work out on game day, especially college football players. If you have the 7 p.m. game, maybe 7:30 p.m., 100% you trained and did some sort of lift with your team. Now, I'm not saying that it has to be some full-blown, all-out, we're squatting, we're doing our Olympic lifts, we have all of this, we all that. It could be 15 to 20 minutes in and out. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand is how simple the in-season work really is. Because if you really busted your butt during the off-season, and I mean lifting 3, 4, maybe even 5 days a week, that might be too much, who knows? Every individual is different. Are you sprinting? How much jumping did we do? Did I gain the right amount of weight? Did I rehab from all those nagging injuries, right? If I did all of those things consistently over the offseason, if we use high school baseball players, for instance, you guys don't have to do anything until January, possibly February. Most of us out here in California won't start until end of January, early February. If you start right now, you have, October hasn't even started yet. You have October, November, December. That's 3 months that you could dedicate to yourself. You can still play your fall ball, your winter ball, whatever. As a strength coach, I would prefer you probably play another sport. I don't think enough of us do that. I think that's really a great way to utilize your off-season is to learn something new. A lot of football players now are learning jiu-jitsu and wrestling in their off-season because, man, nothing makes you a better, well-rounded athlete than learning how to wrestle and to learn some jiu-jitsu. Plus, it has so much other carryover to things that you need to do in life. But that's another topic. But it's knowing how to utilize your off-season and to utilize it the right way. When I sit down with athletes, our baseball off season right now in particular, we could be working out 4, maybe 5 months. Most of the kids that I work with, we started 4 weeks ago, and we will carry that all throughout the off season. A lot of kids are playing fall ball, which is fine, but now we are implementing all of those things. No matter what, we're going to get you, right? You're going to throw med balls, you're going to sprint, you're going to run through your arm care, right? You're going to learn about internal and external rotation. Now's the time of the year where you really need to gain weight. You can't come back in 2026 the same person you were last year, a shell of your former self. You need to break out of that shell. Most high school kids need to gain 5 to 10 pounds, right? When we're talking about improving things like velocity, that doesn't happen with just throwing weighted balls and doing rubber bands and thinking that you need a throwing program or a velo program this off season. You need good strength training. I'm going to say it again Arm care is just good strength training because we are going to address all things shoulder, scap, elbow, tricep, forearm, hand strength, internal, external rotation, whatever buzzword you need is covered in very good strength training, right? It's not, I need this other thing because that's what I heard on TikTok, or that's what every other parent is talking about at the local travel ball tournaments, or I heard that so-and-so is doing this and so-and-so is doing that. Is it getting them any results? Have they gained weight? Have they physically gotten any stronger? I know that within our off-season programs, we're testing every little metric we can. Just today in the gym, we had all of our morning athletes testing broad jumps. Last week, it was vertical jump. In the coming weeks, we'll get out our laser timers. We'll be testing sprint times. So we can actually provide the data that they're looking for, that college coaches and recruiters are looking for. Right? I get it. You want to go to these showcases and these camps and everybody's getting their 60-yard dash time, your pop times, your velos, your launch angles. But are you actually coming home and training to improve any of those metrics? Or is it, hey, I went to this showcase. I'd like to thank the coaches. You'll post your picture on social media and that's it. Did you actually work on any of those things? One of the girls that I have the honor of coaching here at Altamont Performance Lab just recently got her scholarship to play Division II softball at Cal State Monterey Bay. Sorry, I butchered that, Madison. And her coaches from the D2 level had very specific goals for her. She still has her senior year of high school softball to get through, and they want her to get stronger. She needs to gain some weight, needs to get more powerful, and needs to get faster. It's not she needs to work on her swing or her pop time or her launch angle or any of those things. It's basic old school stuff. Focus on this for the next year so we know that you're ready to go. Colleges do not want to spend time developing you now, right? The amount of kids that they're taking at the high school level is decreasing by the day. The days of them taking a lot of kids from different areas, that doesn't exist anymore. They can go right to the portal now and take fully developed grown adults that have played at the level they want. They have the weight, the frame. They don't want high school kids that probably need a couple years to develop, unless you're great, unless you're like that top 25, top 50 kid in the actual country, which most of you aren't. Most of you play on high school teams that can barely make playoffs, right? You're not a section winning, a state champ. Your school doesn't even have a spotlight on it. There are a reason why college coaches and recruiters stick to the same schools throughout the nation. They usually love the schools that have full-time strength and conditioning coaches because they want somebody that's actually not your kid's sport coach, right? As a strength coach, I spend more time with your kids than any sport coach ever will, football coach, a baseball coach. Why would you not want to have a conversation with me? I know everything there is to know about your kid, how they are in the weight room, how they are around their teammates, how they are in the dugout, on the bench, how they are at practice, how do they take nutrition seriously, how are they to their parents, to their friends, to their peers, to their teachers. I love having conversations with those coaches and those recruiters, right? It just paints such a bigger picture on why strength and conditioning is so important and why it's getting even harder now and why you need to start focusing on strength and conditioning at such a younger age now. There's no more excuse for it. Mom and dad, there's no more excuse. If your kids are going to play sports, you need to have them strong. You need to have them exposed to good speed training. It really comes down to run, skip, hop, and jump. Do those things, build your foundation, and never stop. The best athletes that I've had the opportunity to coach, they train year round. It could be every single day of the week. They're always doing something different. They know how to manage their schedules. Training just becomes a part of your everyday life. You cannot do this for 2-3 months out of the year and then just say, peace, I'm done. I don't have any time because my mom and dad said I don't have time. Just because your mom and dad don't have time to exercise, and sorry if I burst your bubble, that doesn't mean your kids do. My mom and dad never dictated when I got to work out or when I got to exercise and train. I did that on my own because my mom and dad set a really good example for me of what it meant to be healthy and active and what that did for you. My grandparents also set that foundation for me also at a very young age, right? I didn't have lazy parents, lazy grandparents. I wasn't around overweight people. I wasn't around that. I was always around active people. We were always doing things. We were always doing manual labor. You know, I grew up on the East Coast, so I chopped the wood, I stacked the wood, I shoveled the snow, right? I mowed the lawn. I learned how to use a chainsaw. I learned how to, skills that a lot of kids don't have these days. And that shows even in a weight room or even in a workout. It's basic things. I'm teaching kids that farmer carries, picking up weights and carrying them from point A to point B is actually extremely beneficial than knowing what your 1 rep max is on a bench press, right? Teaching kids that running really fast can really benefit them, and it's fun to do. And jumping to high heights and distances is even more fun to do. And that these things just need to be a part of your everyday thing. It's knowing when is my off season and knowing when am I going to transition to in season. And I don't think kids today, teenagers today, a lot of them don't ever get to experience a true off season because we are so fixated on they need to just play the sport as much as possible. They need to get all this exposure at such a young age. They need to go to this camp. They need to play on this team. But then these kids are playing on a different team every 3 to 6 months. There's no loyalty in any of it, right? I'd rather have a kid walk away from a sport and just fall in love with working out and building a healthy lifestyle and good habits, than playing a sport that they really don't like, but their parents like, and their parents are just trying to get them to get a scholarship so they don't have to pay for college one day, right? Kids are burning out before they ever even hit puberty. It's really sad to see, and they don't get the help that they need at the high school level. They don't understand what recruiting is. They don't even know what college coaches and recruiters are actually looking for. On one side, it's being told that you need your 60-yard dash and you need your sprint times on GPS. And on one side, it's no, you need to go to showcases and you need to go to camps and you need to play year round and you need to specialize at a young age. And then you got to be strong, you got to be fast, you got to be in the weight room, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's find balance. And you got to be passionate about it too. If you don't love this, it is not going to work. You're not going to want to play in college, or you're just going to see how hard it really is and that you're not doing the right things and that you should have probably worked out a little bit more. And you probably should have taken your nutrition a little bit seriously. And knowing that your in-season training probably becomes even more important than what you did in the off-season. Because we know that once the season begins, you practice more, right? You prepare for game days. You have pre-game stuff. With high school baseball and softball, you're playing multiple games during the week. Less time to practice. High school football, it's 3 to 4 days of practice, 1 game a week. And then we have to fit in weight room, right? I need to be able to sprint multiple times during the week, right? It's knowing what needs to be covered. Going to practice is not enough. Going to your games is not enough. Where are we balancing all of the other stuff? Where do we value all the other stuff? As a student athlete, your strength, your speed, it's two of the things that are like the most relative to what you need when you're playing the sport or what you need at practice. Why would you even think you don't need them? Or that, I train on my own. I don't really need to focus on strength training. I do my own thing, or I work out here. That's great, but what does your program look like? I work out on my own too, but I still structure everything from warm up to main movement to my accessories to my cool downs. What days am I sprinting? I'm 39 years old. I still sprint 3 days a week, where people are telling you that, oh, anybody close to 40 and up, you shouldn't sprint anymore. Well, I'm not lazy like most 40-year-old people, right? I get my blood work done religiously. I have no issues with my testosterone. Nothing wrong with my libido. Nothing wrong with anything. Just ask my beautiful, amazing wife, who I've been with for damn near 20 years. When you take care of yourself and you do those things consistently over time, you don't need to worry about shooting yourself up with testosterone down the road, right? Or what pre-workout you should be taking as a teenager. Right? This all comes down to, how do I train throughout my year? How do I plan things out? What does my program look like? Another one of my high school softball players who also just got her D2 scholarship. Those of you that don't know, D2 is short for Division II. And we sat down the other day and she wants to focus on losing a little bit of weight and getting faster. And she really needs to get a little stronger. Really take advantage of this senior year. So you're not having to do those things as a college freshman. Because if you're good enough, maybe you redshirt. Not maybe they're like, hey, your scholarship, that's not worth it to us anymore. We're gonna take that away. That can happen. They can do that. So always be trying to do more. If you're being told that you don't need to work out during the season, you need to find people that will give you better advice. If you play on these teams, I don't care what sport it is, if you're not incorporating at least one day during the week of actual strength and speed work, you need to find another resource that will provide that for you. If you go to a high school that doesn't even emphasize your weight room for you, you either need to speak up, bring that to the attention of your athletic directors, your coaches, your boosters, your parents. And if none of that works, you need to find an external resource. Most towns have strength and conditioning facilities, just like the one I am sitting in right now. This just happens to be our awesome media room. But I've been consistent, and being consistent for 7 years in this facility has allowed us to build an awesome room like this, where I can sit here in my chair with my microphone and I can tell you the importance of off-season and in-season training as an athlete. If you're in high school, it's 4 years. That's 4 years of opportunity to get better. And if you want to play at the next level, that's another 4 years, right? You have 8 years to develop. But I can give you this piece of advice: the best athletes that I've had the chance to coach started before they ever got into high school. A lot of the kids that I'm coaching now for the varsity football team at Tracy High here in town, I started coaching a lot of those kids as 7th graders. They're animals now. There's a reason why they're in the starting lineup, why they lead the team in specific categories, why one of them weighs damn near 250 pounds. It's because of the consistency and the desire to just constantly want to be better. High-level people do not like being around mediocre people, just like mediocre people can't stand high-level achievers. Those medium-level people, those mediocre ones, they're always the one talking shit, right? They always have a comment to say. Keyboard warriors. They're never happy. They're never satisfied. They're miserable. I consider myself a high-level person. I don't hang around mediocre. Kobe Bryant never did. If you're lazy, stay away from me, is what Kobe used to say. That's how I live my life, man. I don't live around lazy. I don't preach lazy. I don't train lazy, right? If you're a lazy athlete, I probably ended that relationship with you and moved on from your laziness. And there's plenty out there that want to be coached, that want this lifestyle. It's not a hobby. Most of you think it's a hobby. You just want to do it to look cool. And that's cool. It'll end when you graduate. And then you have to go to school and do whatever it is you're going to do, right? But for those that want to keep going and keep building, that have that desire to play at high level and do high level stuff, dedicate now. You got to lock in. You got to go all in. Find a coach that will lock in and go all in with you, right? Like I always say, your off-season plan dictates the in-season work. And that work becomes more important because the second you stop, it's just like that saying, if you don't use it, you will lose it. Man, that pertains to strength and speed, right? I don't have to go into the diminishing returns, right? And how that affects strength and speed, but it does. You can think you could do it on your own or do it here, do it there. Hey, maybe it works for you. Maybe you get the success you need. That's great. It probably worked for you because you're consistent. The ones that aren't consistent, the ones that are living by excuses, the ones that are letting mommy and daddy dictate everything you do, I guarantee you it's probably a little bit harder for you right now. It's the way you chose to do it. It's on you. With athletes, you eventually at some point have to take hold of your life and control these things that no one else can control. And if you don't want to hear that, hey, too bad. Stop playing sports. Go read more books. Go figure out what you're going to do in life, right? I don't play sports anymore. It's been a long time. I really wasn't even that good at them, but I'm good at this. I'm good at coaching. That's what I've pride myself in. If I wasn't good at it, I wouldn't be able to have built this 20-year career and do all these awesome things and sit here and talk to you amazing people about off-season strength and conditioning and in-season strength and conditioning. So, hey, hopefully you're taking something from these podcasts. If you're an athlete, if you're out there listening, if you're in middle school, even elementary school, right? This is never going to stunt your growth. It's never going to hurt you. Bad coaches, bad coaching, bad programming, that's what hurts you. And in 20 years, I've only had great outcomes. Keep listening, keep chugging along, keep training. If you're new to this, do not stop. If you're a veteran, keep going, man. I applaud you. I tip my hat off to every single one of you. To all of our viewers, our subscribers, we're growing this platform. It's so great. It's only episode 4, but what we're doing is awesome. Being able to connect with all of you is great. Thank you for listening. Again, you can find me all over social media, Vinny Performance Lab. That's me on Instagram. Just search me by name, Vinny Polillo. You can find me on Facebook, Coach Vinny APL. Pretty sure that's my Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days. And you can also find me on YouTube as well. Coach Vinny 209 is my YouTube. So thanks for listening. And again, this is the Students of Strength podcast. I'm your host, Coach Vinny Polillo. And hey, thanks for chiming in, guys. Love each and every one of you. Have a great and amazing rest of 2025.